Welcome to Looking Within, a podcast for the spiritual explorer in each of us. I'm Julie. I love to explore the inner life using contemplative practices, and I love to help others to do the same. In our time together, I hope you gain a sense of hope, meaning, joy, and love. As a Christian spiritual explorer, I hope to offer some thoughts to help you see God's presence and activity in ever-expanding ways. As you listen, ponder, and experience the divine, feel free to use the spiritual perspective you are most comfortable with in our practice today. Now, let's begin. Two days ago, I had the pleasure of guiding a full-day contemplative retreat here in Rochester. Its title was Loving the Life You Have. The day was broken up into 3 parts during which we looked at 3 dimensions of our lives: communion, or intimacy with God, community with others, and ministry, or going out to help or serve others. A retreat is a wonderful time to take a break from the routines and demands of daily life, and to slow down and enjoy a time of rest and renewal as you engage at a deeper level with your inner life. As you listen to an episode of Looking Within, I actually think of our time together as a very, very small mini retreat. It's a time to explore questions of meaning and purpose, and a quiet space for mindful attention to our inner lives. With the retreat fresh in my mind, let me pose to you the retreat's theme in the form of a question. Do you love the life you have? There might be some of you who could answer that in the affirmative. There might be a number of people who would say the opposite, that they really don't like their life in its present form and circumstances. Perhaps a larger number would admit to liking their life for the most part, but wishing that one or more things would be different. Wherever you find yourself on this spectrum, I believe your experience is greatly affected by the 3 dimensions of life that I mentioned earlier: communion, community, and ministry. These 3 form expanding, concentric circles of love, flowing out from your core relationship with God, to relationships with others, and finally to the world, where you can help and serve. During our past few episodes, I've talked about our divinely given core identity as the beloved daughters and sons of God. This identity is all gift, wrapped up in love, and like any gift, it's given to be opened, explored, and experienced, in this case, in communion with the divine. A purely intellectual acceptance of our identity in God will never be enough to deeply connect us to the divine, and I doubt if we'll deeply love our life and journey if we don't take in the reality of our belovedness at a deeper level. But how does one absorb this identity in a way that makes our life and journey rich and deep? Today, during our minutes for reflection, I'd like to have you focus on how you might practice communion or intimacy with God. Communion with the divine is the launching pad for how we live in loving relationship with others and the world. Perhaps you already have a practice or several ways that you connect with God to experience and be reminded of your identity as the beloved. This sense of oneness with the ground of being can happen for us in nature, through artistic expression, or through others who bless us flowing out of their own relationship with the divine. A loving connectedness can also happen as we sit in the quiet to pray, meditate, read the Bible, or engage with favorite devotional materials. Our imaginations can also play a role as we visualize something like Jesus sitting and talking with us. God has provided an abundance of opportunities for communion. Our challenge is noticing and engaging in the chances to do this. Let's think more about this as we enjoy some quiet moments together. In this quiet space and time, I'd invite you to gently close your eyes. I'll sound the Tibetan singing bowl, which will call you to look within. As you're listening to the bowl's reverberations, take 3 deep breaths. Then let your breathing return to normal whenever you'd like. Hear the sound of the bowl now. Let it center you. Let it remind you that God is here with you. Though you may already have practices that connect you to God's love and presence, let me offer a brief visualization for you to try to help you remember that you're the beloved of God. Picture yourself as you were at around age 5 or 6. You're sitting on a bench in a lovely park, not sitting there alone, but Jesus is sitting with you. Perhaps you were a little sad or unhappy when you first sat down, but now this most loving of friends is there with you, listening to you with rapt attention and with a calm yet joy-filled smile on his face. His body language and eyes convey complete love and care for you. You can tell him anything, and you love hearing his responses to you as well. He's interested in everything you want to talk about, and when you're quiet, you're both just glad to be there together. He tells you he loves you, and you answer back that you love him too. Then you lapse into silence, just hanging out together on the bench. Walk through this scene in your mind now, and I'll be back with you in about 3 minutes. I'd invite you now to take a few deep breaths, in and out, in and out. Let these breaths fill you with strength and energy. Hear me sound the Tibetan singing bowl, and as the sound of the bowl reverberates and slowly dies away, you can gently open your eyes, remaining still for a moment longer. It's been wonderful to be with you today. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, or if you know someone you think would benefit from our topic today, please share this episode with them. Today, we've looked at communion with God. I had you visualize yourself as a child because a child represents your most essential you before you've done or accomplished anything, before you possess anything, and before others' opinions shape who you or the world think you are. God loves you deeply at any point in your life, but I wanted you to remember that you are loved by the divine just for being you. However communion with God happens for you, through regular practices you may have, or in a spontaneous moment of connection, communion provides time and some open space when God can tell you who you are and how much you are loved. It's a wonderful starting point for each day and for each task that we encounter, filling us with enough love to give the same to others. Speaking of others, I'm fairly certain that God relishes in hearing our words of love coming back in return. That's kind of nice to think about. Love travels full circle, back to its origin. Thank you for making time for your inner self today. Whatever you've discovered and experienced, carry that with you in the coming days. You can find more episodes at our website, gloria-day, that's DEI.com/lookingwithinpodcast, or subscribe through your favorite podcast app. We'll see you next time.